Today, I want to talk about how we can bring a bit more joy and happiness into our lives. Nowadays, we experience a lot of unhappiness in our present and current state. We don't feel joy and we don't feel meaning, and we don't have that feeling of being alive. And that is caused by a lot of things. So I want to explain why we feel this unhappiness, why we don't really enjoy our lives, even though we live very pleasant lives. We have a lot of privileges and we can do what we want, but still it feels like we are not really happy where we are. Life is a paradox. Whatever you think will get you happy, it's actually found in the opposite. So, for example, indulging in your desires, doing whatever you want, it actually brings you the opposite of joy and it actually brings you the opposite of happiness. But not doing what you want, not giving into your desires, actually brings happiness, actually brings you joy. And that is the most strange thing about life. But life is a paradox, and we need to figure out the puzzle. Once you unlock the paradox, things start to actually make sense, and you're able to relate it to your own life and actually see there is truth in the idea that we all believe that if we were to act on our desires, to eat what we want, to do what we want, to indulge in our desires, to do all of these things, we think that it's going to get us happiness because we're doing what we want, and that's what we've been taught to do. We've been taught by society that just do what you want. But the opposite is true. It's when we don't do what we want. It's when you want to eat something that's bad for your health, but you refrain from doing it. When you think of anything that you desire and that is bad for your health, that is damaging to your health, that is damaging to your body, it will actually lead to unhappiness. You might have a temporary short term pleasure, you might find a little joy in there for a moment, but long term, it doesn't provide you any pleasure, it doesn't provide you any happiness. Moreover, it becomes the reason for your misery. This is good news, really, because it means that what we've been taught about how we should obey our desires are actually against us, and not every desire that we have should be obeyed and should be listened to. How would you know if it's going to be good for you or not? If any desire comes with a harmful consequence, then that will usually lead to misery and that will lead to you feeling sadness. So, drugs, eating unhealthy food regularly, not working out and being unproductive, in the sense of being lazy, not all of these things are going to lead to misery. And so we need to recognize that it is in the boring life that you will find meaning and you will find joy. It is having discipline every day, turning up for yourself every day, that you will be proud of, that you will find the ultimate joy and ultimate happiness. Those excuses in your mind and those barriers, they're there to prevent you from doing what's good for you. But we have to recognize that our desires and our thoughts are not always rooting for us, or they're not always directing us towards good. There is a part of us that directs us towards good, and there's a part of us that actually directs us and misleads us towards our own destruction. If we recognize that, then it makes us easier to recognize when we hear that voice. It's easier to recognize. But when we don't even have that knowledge, when we don't even know that we ourselves are destructive to ourselves, we think that we should just obey whatever our minds tell us or whatever our desires tell us because we want it, and whatever we want is supposed to be a positive thing. Another huge part of our happiness lies in our relationships. We can't escape it. We are social beings and relationships affect us. A lot of our misery and pain is as a result of bad relationships or unhealthy relationships or problems in relationships. We feel a lot of unhappiness when we don't have people who love us, and not that we don't have, when we feel like we don't have people who love us and who support us and who care for us. And so, what should you do if you don't have very good relationships at the moment? How would you develop a meaningful life? If you don't have positive relationships at the moment, you can still benefit from relationships by giving to others, by being of service to others, by contributing to the lives of other people that are disadvantaged, that don't have what you have. Doing things for other people and solely and with a pure intention and with the intention to give is a very directly links back to our own happiness. And I'm kind of grateful for the laws of life and for the laws of nature, because when we give to others, we actually feel joy. So it's already like written into our biology that when we give to others, when we are of service to other people, we are rewarded by feeling joy and by feeling happiness. So if you feel very depressed, you feel very down, you feel like you lack purpose, if you start contributing to society, start helping other people who can't help themselves, it will give you what you feel is missing. You need to have relationships where you're not always taking, you're also giving. If you're always a taker, your happiness will depend on being gifted all of the time. So the moment when no one gives you anything, you're gonna go back to feeling unhappiness. But not only do we feel joy when we receive, but we also feel joy when we give. So if you're not receiving, then give. If you feel like no one's giving to you and you are not receiving anything, you give. You go out and you be the person that, because you can get joy both ways. You can get joy by giving, you can get joy by receiving. So if you're not getting anything and that is not in your control, then there is one which is in your control, which is to give. Another thing that I wanted to mention, it's not like people don't know people. People actually know a lot of people. The problem is relationships kind of die down, you lose touch with people. Instead of waiting for other people to message you, instead of waiting for other people to check up on you, why don't you check up on people? You know, you'll be surprised, like people will be happy to hear from you, and it's a form of giving. Instead of waiting for someone to come to you and to check up on you, you're giving. And so what we can do is start giving to people, start initiating interactions where you can give to the other person, not waiting for the other person to give to you, not waiting for the other person to do something for you so you can do something for them. No, just do it because you want to give to the world. If you are a joy for other people, you generally are a joyful human being. And people who are miserable, it's because they're waiting for people to give to them. They're waiting to receive all of the time, and there's very little give in their lives. And so to summarize, what we can do is be a bit more disciplined with our desires and not give in to everything that we want. That's the first one. And the second one was to give. So these are my two ways that we can bring a bit more joy and a bit more happiness and purpose into our lives when we feel that there's nothing really specific that is making us upset. There's nothing really specific that makes us feel down, but we just feel down and we don't know how to feel good about ourselves. So I hope this was helpful. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the video and do all those lovely things. Thank you.